Good evening, Internet. Night before my day off, let's do another video. And let's talk about what the media and all these liberal people are saying is called the Don't Say Gay bill. Number one, not the actual title of the bill. It's the Parental Rights in Education Act. And it very literally is pretty minor. A lot of people would say it even doesn't go far enough. I actually read the bill. The first link that will be in the description is a link to the Florida legislative site with the actual bill text. So pause the video, pop that open, read the bill. If you have a strong opinion about this already, or if you question what we're talking about here, and you want to believe the media hype of it's don't say gay, read the bill. If you haven't read the bill, you don't know, and you're just leading a bunch of hype. This is one of those aspects of that I want to be able to put to people is, here's the actual bill. Let's look at it. The next two links will be a similar bill or something in the same vein from Indiana and one from Kansas. Those actually go farther than Florida. The Florida bill says, number one, you cannot have conversations about LGBTQ topics for anyone between kindergarten and third grade, and everything else has to be age appropriate. So let's think about this a minute. What's age appropriate for a 5-year-old? Yeah, if anybody touches you where your bathing suit covers, you need to tell a trusted adult. That's what is age appropriate. Okay, and being a martial arts instructor, I am actually now, under the Safe Sport Act, a mandated reporter. Okay, if I hear about it, I have to do something. Otherwise, I'm held liable. So, and in Washington, a couple of years ago, they had a referendum because the legislature went and passed a bill where they were teaching about this stuff, not only to older kids, but younger kids, where they were getting into the materials would have been the anatomical descriptions of, or terms for your parts, what you could do with your parts, things feeling good. Basically, they were talking about how to tell 12-year-olds and younger how to rub one out. That sounds crude. It is. I don't care. Let's cut to the chase about what we're talking about. In that case, it seems kind of creepy if you think any of that needs to be discussed with kids. It also says you can't have secret conversations. So if little Johnny says he thinks he's a girl and he's 7 years old and he's really upset about it, well, teacher can't say, well, let's just change your name in the school records and we just won't talk to your parents about it and you can't talk to your parents. No, they have to tell the parents. What's so objectionable about that? I'm trying to not get it. Now, I get the idea that people think the state should run everything. There's a saying, leftists don't have kids, they have yours, which is exactly why my kids are not going to be in a public school. This bill could easily be called the Don't Say Straight bill, but more to the point, it should be called the Teachers Shouldn't Groom Kids or Teachers Shouldn't Undermine the Values of Parents bill. That's all that's in there. That is the be-all and end-all of that bill. And honestly, it doesn't go far enough where it's not covering some of this stuff at the, for older kids and saying this isn't age appropriate. So Disney has literally gone insane with this. Now you're hearing that, people are saying, oh, well, we have a Supreme Court justice nominee who gave soft sentences for people who are predatory toward children. We have Democrats defending that. That's bizarre to me. People are supposed to be all about the kids. I'm not seeing it. So the next two links will be similar bills in the same vein as Kansas and Indiana. The Indiana bill apparently is dead. The Kansas bill, I don't think it is, last time I looked. But I read those. The Kansas one gets a little more into what's age appropriate, but it's about the same vein. That needs to get passed. The Indiana bill even goes so far as to say, now it does get in. I hate the idea of saying, criticizing my own side, but honestly, it does get into a little bit of indoctrination to the right. But it says these ideas are not compatible. Things like critical race theory and socialism and other authoritarian views are incompatible with our founding principles. While true, it kind of gets into that we're going to indoctrinate the other way. I don't like that, because honestly, our views should be so supportable that we don't need indoctrination. So Indiana's bill's dead, but it gets right in there and says these are not appropriate and these are not to be taught. Again, it's about undermining the values of parents. There's nothing in there in any of these bills that says that Ms. Smith can't have a picture on her desk of the other Ms. Smith if she likes other women. There's nothing that says that Mr. Jones can't have a picture of his husband and their girlfriend on his desk. It doesn't say that. It doesn't, my teachers, very rarely did I know anything about their personal lives. When I was in kindergarten, I knew there was a Mr. Moore, who was later my science teacher, and had to teach human growth and development. That was funny to everybody, including him, because everybody was uncomfortable with somebody that was very, almost the stereotype of the boring science teacher. And my friends see this, and they remember Mr. Moore from LaVenture and going through core group as the experimental group and having him teach human growth and development. Yeah, that was bizarre. If one of the best defenses for abstinence I ever heard was given there, but that's a side subject. Kinda. He basically read condom, this percentage of chance of no pregnancy, and shut the close. I'm getting low on battery again. Off. And abstinence 100%. The pill, 80% chance or 90% chance of no pregnancy, 100% for abstinence. Pill and the condom, 90 or 95%. Oh, wait, 100% for abstinence. Very good argument right there. Just read off the chances to us. I don't know that would necessarily worked for some kids, because teenagers are what teenagers are. But that was age appropriate, where kids were starting to do that, where some people claimed they were doing that and whatnot. Sadly or not, that was life. By then, you're getting older. You're noticing girls. That's age appropriate. 7-year-olds are not. 7-year-olds aren't gay. They aren't straight. They aren't trans. They are nothing. They are 7-year-olds. Okay, but my grade school teachers, we knew there was a Mrs. Moore. I think we knew that there was a Mr. Walser. There was a Mr. Quall. There was a Mr. Pocock. We knew Mr. Quall. I think Mrs. Quall said that he was a state legislator. I think he was at the time. Unfortunately, he was a Democrat and helped to create the mess down there in Olympia before he retired. And the 40th district is literally, still showing elements of the gerrymander that was the Quall Peninsula. There's still vestiges of it. We knew that my second grade teacher, Mrs. Pocock, that her husband was a mayor, I think. I remember Mrs. Lusick, the teacher I appreciate most as an adult and liked probably the least as a child. Wherever you are, thank you for working with me on your lunch on my multiplication tables. But we knew, in the context of her talking about hurricanes and science, that her husband had worked on the plane that actually flew into the eye of the hurricane. We knew those things. We didn't know the details of it. We knew that Mr. Janeski, when I was in the 5th grade, took his family to Hawaii. But he didn't get into lots of details. He was late to work one day, and somebody had to cover his class while he figured out what was wrong with his wife's car on her way to work. We knew those things, but there was very little. Nobody sat there and said, "Oh, I'm a this, and this is what that means." It wasn't necessary. There wasn't no telling us not to have conversations with our parents. Kids should be encouraged to have conversations with their parents. The only reason you would oppose this is if you support child grooming or think the teacher should undermine a set of values taught by the parents. That is the only reason to support to oppose, make myself clear, oppose Florida's bill. And the same thing with the bill in Kansas and the one in Indiana. Now I'm hearing they're talking about one in Louisiana and I think Oklahoma. I may have heard today. Those bills should all pass. If they're Florida or stronger, they should all pass. Because teachers need to stop undermining values. Teachers need to stop grooming kids. And unfortunately, it does happen. And in this case, they're not grooming them maybe even for them specifically. It's the idea that you're normalizing and sexualizing kids at too young an age. Let the kids be kids. Period. They are all he's and she's. They are not z's and theirs and thems and whatever else. Just like there's only two genders in truth for adults, there's only two genders for kids. And even if you make up there's these made up genders, they only exist for the adults. They don't exist for the kids. Let the kids be kids. Right? They shouldn't be encouraged to transition. They shouldn't be encouraged to do any of that. They should just be allowed to be kids. All right? And that's what this bill talks about. It doesn't talk about hating anybody. It doesn't target anybody. How does it target anybody and make them feel unsafe to say, you can't talk about your very unusual lifestyle that applies to 5% or less of the population with kids? How does that target you and make you feel threatened? Unless you're wanting to promote that lifestyle to your kids. So, I'm going to leave it there. But that's the reality. The bill links will be in the description, unless I have some issue with transferring this from my phone to my laptop. And like, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Because it fuels the algorithm on the first two. And, of course, share this with other people. If you can share it in a comment somewhere to your friends, on your own social media. Share it. You guys have a nice night and probably a good morning, because by the time you see it, it's probably going to be morning, and we'll see you later.